Hello and welcome to Pickleball Therapy, the podcast dedicated to your pickleball improvement. This is a special episode of the podcast. In this episode, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Neely Sullivan and Natasha Linton, the co-hosts of the Real Housewives of Pickleball podcast, pickleball players, also pickleball entrepreneurs. It's a really interesting conversation with Neely and Tosh. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Let's dive into the podcast. Neely, Natasha, quote, Tosh, how are you guys doing today?
Awesome.
Great. Yeah,
So-
doing great. Excited to be on your podcast. Thanks for having us.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
this is our
pleasure.
This is our debut. Being on
Yeah, we're
someone's
gonna do this regularly. We're gonna do this regularly, guys, because I think these
Awesome.
things occur too infrequently. You know, it's like we'll do the podcast and it's like, well, then they're seeing that no, there's new things happen. You know, we should keep the conversation going because I really like what you
Agreed.
guys are doing. You know, I follow your podcast. I listen to the podcast. I highly recommend anybody listening to this podcast. Real Housewives of Pickleball. You can find it anywhere there's podcasts. Just type that in and you'll find it. I like the way you guys come at the podcast. You know, you interview some very interesting folks, industry folks, players, content creators. Last 3 episodes were Pickleball with Nikki, Anna Bright, obviously the number 2 player on the planet, and Ryan Reeder, right, who I've known for years from his time down in Naples. So really nice perspective you guys bring in. Really appreciate what you guys are doing to help grow the sport of pickleball. Will you guys share just a little bit, since we're talking about it, share a little bit about the idea of the podcast, like why you guys do it, what your thoughts are, and also if you have any, like maybe you have is Anna Lee coming on next week or something? I mean, do you have like what's going on? So tease something for us.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Well, actually, really, I told Tosh when we started, like, I really want to get Lee Waters on because I'm fascinated by that mother-daughter relationship and just being a mother myself. And Tosh is a mom as well. I am, I'm just, I need to know more about how Anna Lee was raised. Like, how did she raise this girl into being the most fearless competitor on the planet? She's so poised, she's articulate. She has her moments, but she's only 18. And
Right.
I need to like pick Lee's brain. How did you raise this? Because I have 2 daughters and I'm like, I want them to be like Anna Lee in a lot of ways.
That's a great idea. Why not write I mean, Lee should write a book. I mean, it would be. My kids are already in their 30s, so I'm probably past helping them form that part of their life. But yeah, for sure, it'd be a fascinating tale of. Also, you wonder, like, it brings up the whole nature nurture thing. Listen, I'm sure Lee's. I love Lee. Lee's I'm friends with Lee. Lee's a great person, but you always wonder, like, I'm a parent too. I have 3 kids, and how much of that was when they screw up? It definitely wasn't me. That's nature.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, that is a big part of it is, right.
Yeah.
Was she just born this way, or did you nurture
Yeah.
her and raise her in a way that brought that out? So
Yeah.
that's a whole conversation.
We'll put a plug out for that. Tosh, go ahead, jump in.
I was going to say it's either going to be a really long podcast, it's going to be a really short podcast with Lee.
True. There you go. All right, Tosh, tell us a little bit about, like, you guys obviously got together at some point and know each other. I don't know if you know each other from pickleball or outside of pickleball, and then you were like, hey, you know what? Let's do a podcast.
I mean, pretty much. It's not like a really, I don't know, big story. I've known Neely for at least a couple years, right? 2-3 years, Neely. We started playing. She played maybe a year before I started playing. We lived near each other, and there was this one club that mostly everyone would go to play. So that's how I got to know Neely, and also through local tournaments. And just one random day that Neely and I were going to go play, we are just about to get on the court. And Neely said, you want to start a podcast?
Well,
and I'm
actually,
like,
yes, that I had been noodling the idea of doing a podcast because I have radio and like TV kind of background. And I remember that day, Tosh, and I remember just blurting, I'm like, I've been thinking about starting a podcast. And you're like, oh my God, that's a great idea.
Well, our conversation was kind of leading towards something like that because we were talking about starting something or there was something more to the conversation before that led into you saying, do you want to do a podcast? Because right away I was like, yeah. Kind of like I was, it was nothing really formed in my head, but it was just like an inkling inside of me that was like always wanting something more. So as soon as it was put out into the universe, I grabbed right onto it, just like Neely did. And yeah, here we are.
I
Here we
love it.
are.
It's Natasha's like, I have the blue Yeti in the box still. I got to break it out and let's go. I don't know if you guess. That's what I started with. That's what I know. A lot of podcasts are starting with a Yeti or a Rode or this is a Shore. But anyways, it's that's fascinating. But I do agree. I mean, I think this thing about the universe is interesting, right? Because I as I mentioned, I follow the podcast and I listened to your podcast with pickleball Nikki, right? Because she's such a good
Yeah.
influence for the sport and the
Yes.
Joy Pledge and all that. And she mentioned about like, the way she met pickleball, right? Where like she signed up for pickleball, whatever day it was. And then she was nervous the day before. And then it was like, oh, there's
Yeah.
free lesson the day before. It must be meant to be. So then it kind
Right.
of was natural for her. Let me ask you this. How did you guys get introduced to pickleball? That's something that's super interesting to me because
Hmm.
I'm of the mind that there's not a person in the world who would not enjoy pickleball if, and this is the big if, they're introduced to it correctly. And that
Hmm.
depends on the person, right? So how are you guys each? And maybe Neely, why don't you go first and then Tosh, you can jump in. I just Tosh take a sip of something. So jump in, Neely, and then Tosh, you tell your story.
Yeah, I've heard you say that before. Actually, when you were on our podcast, you mentioned that about who introduces you to the sport can kind of affect your trajectory in the sport. Um, so my father, who has literally introduced me to every sport in my life, every racket sport, starting with tennis. Then he, after college, he's like, you got to play squash. He was, obsessed with squash. And then I became obsessed with squash. And then squash kind of ended. It was too hard on my body. And then along comes the pandemic. And he's like, you got to try the sport. It's called pickleball. And so he said, we have a tennis court at his house. And he set up the net and the lines. And uh, at first I kind of was like, but then I kept playing, and all of a sudden I realized that I'm kind of obsessed with this sport, and the idea of me getting better at something. Like there's no, tennis, I'm never going to go anywhere with tennis. I'm never going to go further than my glory days of college, right? Squash, I had a good run, but pickleball was like, wow, I can just get better and better and better and better. I can be competitive again midlife. It's giving me purpose in my life, and it just took off from there. So yeah, I guess I have my dad to thank for introducing me
Sounds
to
like a
everything.
lot. You have a long list of things to thank your dad for. So that's good.
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's good.
Add
Good to have
that.
that kind
Yeah.
of
yeah.
family. So, all right, Tosh, what about
That's
you?
sweet. So, I guess I'll start when I was playing tennis tournaments. So I live in Massachusetts, and in my town, we have a local tennis tournament like every year. It was run up until COVID hit. And I would play those. I would place pretty well. So I guess people kind of knew that I was a tennis player. And then after COVID, again, we live in Massachusetts, so like the whole pickleball thing started in the opposite side of the coast of the country, and it made its way eventually, like COVID time, to Massachusetts. We got it really late, but um, after COVID, people in Massachusetts started playing, and I saw them playing like in the driveways, especially during the time when we were quarantined off, and people knowing that I was a tennis player because it seems very similar of a sport would ask me, have you played? Do you play? And I had literally never heard of the sport before. Never saw it before, never heard the words pickle and ball put together.
It is a
And
weird combination.
yeah. And it just kept coming up. It just kept coming up. And I'm just like, what? Like I was, I need to figure this out. I need to try this thing and let everyone know what I think about it after. And I remember going to my local courts. It was the town next door. They had beautiful pickleball courts, gorgeous pickleball courts right next to the tennis courts. And there was already like open play set up. So everything was already kind of running. And I'm just like jumping into this thing. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, how does everybody know about this thing? And I don't. And I jumped into open play. And there were these amazing people. There were probably at least like 12 people just like playing for 2+ hours. They taught me everything. Like, cause my head just was exploding with just like question marks of like, oh, what does this mean? How do I play? Like, the rules, like, and they taught me
The
everything.
scoring. How about the scoring? You're like,
oh
what?
my God.
Wait,
The scoring,
when you're done, Tosh, I have the funniest story about scoring. So keep going.
the scoring is still a problem for me, but they taught me everything about pickleball, and it was just all that, everything combined. It was just magical. I was hooked from that second, you know? And it's just been amazing. All of the things that pickleball has initiated and I guess maybe resurrected from within me. And it's been like, if I think of all the things, I'm going to start to cry literally, because it has been an amazing past couple of 3 years that I've been playing. All the places pickleball has taken me, all the people pickleball has connected me with, all of the things like this, being on your podcast, pickleball has.
And I'm going to share I'm going to let Neely talk about the scoring, but now I'm coming back, Tosh, because I'm going to share a story when you and I met at the Humana Cup thing. So go ahead, Neely.
So like 6 to 9 months after I start playing and I'm kind of into it, my dad says, let's enter a tournament together. So we enter a tournament. I can't even remember where, somewhere in Massachusetts. The surfaces, back then there weren't the amount of clubs there are today. So this club, the surface was not great, but whatever. He assured me he understood the scoring, because I didn't at that point. Like every match we had, we could not get the scoring right. And I was literally about to explode. And so we ended up, like winning one and then losing a couple. At the end, like our last match, I went to one of the referees and I broke down hysterically crying. I'm like, listen to me. I have a master's degree. I went to like one of the top colleges in the country. I have a master's degree. I cannot figure out the scoring. So she literally, and we joke about it to this day because she still refs at some tournaments around the Massachusetts area. She took me into the back room. She took out a piece of paper with a diagram and she said, okay, when it's 1-0-2, you're like, and she literally explained the whole thing to me. And I kind of got it after that tutorial, but that was my first foray into scoring and pickleball. So yeah, I get it. Yeah. Scoring is a nightmare.
I play with in a few groups. In one of the groups, a couple of groups, actually, there's one in every group pretty much who just can't keep track of the score. And I always tell that player, I'm like, because I got the score. Don't worry about the score. I'm like, but they'll get so preoccupied with the score, they're serving and they're like, it is the score. And I'm like, please, let's focus on the serve and where you're going to hit the third. I'll take the score. I got the score for us. You handle some other stuff for us. I
still lose track of the score. It was like where to stand and who's serving and what, like,
well, what's interesting is when players start stacking, right? If they want to start stacking, they get all bogged down with the score. And what I always say is all you got to worry about is where's the server or where's the returner, right? You got to worry about the one player. You don't have to worry about the other player, right? It's like there's no score for the other player. It's just who's returning and where do they have to stand, whether you're stacking or not. Okay, are you set? Cool.
Right. Yeah.
Now go stack.
Right.
Now have the other player go into whatever position you want him to go into. So, but
and one more layer into that. I'm always amazed and give major props to whoever's I'm on the court with, and they actually know that our opponents are out of order. They're not in the right spot. I'm like, that's amazing.
I'll hold the ball up when I'm serving, and I'll be like, because we're playing doors, and it's not that I could yell, but it's super loud. So I'm just like. And
You're
then
right, Tosh. I would never would look across the court and be like, you guys are out of order. And people I play with do that all the time. And I'm like, I'm just so focused on, kind of the skills I'm there to work on, my mindset for the day. I'm not focused on who on the other side of the net.
Neely, what we got to figure out is what level of consciousness is that on Anna Bright's scale? Because I love the consciousness conversation you have with intentionality. So, it's like, and what's interesting, and let's play with that a little bit, because I think it's an interesting topic, particularly for our podcast, because this is the pickleball therapy podcast. It says on the wall here. And so this idea of like being okay with focusing on where we are right now. And I know, obviously I know, Tosh, that you play in the Humana NPL, I don't know what it's called now, but Champions thing. So you're in that group. So I know you're a very good player. And I know, Neely, from listening to podcasts, you're a 5.0 plus, or, you're both very good pickleball players, right? But what's interesting is, a lot of the players listening to this are, like most players, right? 3-0 to 4 something, somewhere in that range. And so I think it's always interesting to hear from players like you guys and like me, right? Because I also play senior pro, right? It's like that we may be in different places, but we're still also focusing on what we're focusing on. And we may not be where Anna Bright is. We may not be where somebody else is. So talk a little bit about that, like your what you focus on when you're playing, how it affects your mind, and how you guys manage some of those things. So if you want to kick it off, Tasha, and then you can go, Neely.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So I will say, I
We
was
went
just thinking
deep.
about it as we were just talking about it with, about, someone who I see noticing my opponents on the other side, if they're not in the right spot. I was just thinking to myself that could be a hole in my game, just because I'm not, already, like, yeah, I don't know, they call this thing like ready golf. Like, you have your clubs ready, you're ready to go to the next
Right.
the next hole. It almost like ready pickleball. Like, I really have to like develop this checklist. And I think that's probably one of the pieces of the checklist that I need to start really paying attention to get me on the court, like really be fully present. Um, when I there's always like a pre-serve ritual that so my coach, Scott Fliegelman, awesome. You know Scott, right?
Oh, Scott's a
He,
great guy. Actually, I'm breaking
yeah.
down our U.S. Open match tonight at our strategy clinic that I'm working on. I played against him and Danny at the Open. They
Oh,
beat us in 3, but it
nice.
was a tough 3. It was a tough 3. Like,
Oh,
we went pop, 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 pop,
The
pop.
battle.
will you
Yeah,
send me the link? I want to watch.
absolutely.
So yeah, so we go over these things, and a pre-serve ritual, which I had been working on, is like paramount to just like for me
Yeah.
starting off a match, or even just rec, and
I
practicing
agree. I
those
mean, I think you
things.
gotta take the moments that are available to you, right? To like,
Yeah,
because in pickleball, it's not like in tennis where you have, you have to play the game, but then once the games are over, you switch over, then you can rest, and we don't have that in
yeah,
pickleball, right? You keep
yeah,
playing, and you get time out in tournaments, but otherwise you just
yeah,
keep playing. So I used to say that, like, I thought I always think pros could use timeouts better. I'm not talking about like the young pros
yes,
now. Annalee's the best in the game at it. But because she'll call a timeout at like 3-1. She's like, I don't like what's going on. Let's go. A lot of pros wait till it's like 10 something, and you're like, why are you calling it now? You should have called it at 7-2 or 7-3 or
right.
something. But I don't want to say I got on Ben about it, because like he's Ben Johns, right? So I'm not getting on Ben about anything. But I'd be like, it's weird that Ben doesn't call timeouts. Annalee calls the timeouts, right? But then I
Yes,
watched him a little bit more.
yes,
He's always in a timeout. That's the thing. Like
yes.
he takes a
That is so
timeout
cool.
between every rally. So he doesn't
Uh-huh.
need to go to the bench because he already took a timeout, and he just resets every time. He just resets and resets and resets every time. Probably one of the best at doing that in the game, as well as his discipline. But anyway,
And well,
so Neely,
case
what
in
about you?
point, one more thing, case in point,
Yeah,
like really taking advantage of every second on the court, just like what you said about Ben, how he
yeah,
just takes the opportunities every second that he has, and
yeah.
actually,
And I'm gonna toot my horn here for a second, because I
yeah,
think like an area, because this will help players too. Like if you play competitively, right? League play, tournament play, anything that's competitive, round robins, don't rush. Like
mm,
players are out there. Like
yeah,
there are too many stories to share right now, because I want to hear more from you guys. But like I'm the guy that, like, I'm not a dick about it, right? But I'm like, if the ball's over there, I'm gonna go get it. I'll be back in a second when I go get it in
yeah,
my
yeah,
normal pace and
yeah,
normal pace back. I'm not running to get the ball, because now it negatively impacts me and my team. So why would I do that? And I see players doing it all the time in
yes,
tournaments where they're just rushing, and I'm like, I'll like, they'll call out the score, and you only have 10 seconds. So I'll be like, I'll bounce the ball. Hey, Tosh, how you doing? Everything all right? Hey, this is the third shot over here. Okay, here we go. Boom. I'm not in a
One
rush.
of,
So
one of my
anyway,
pet one of my pet peeves actually is in rec play when people serve the ball too quickly before
yeah.
your feet are set and ready. That
Yep.
irks me to no end. So when I play against players like that, when I have the opportunity of like retrieving the ball, I take it back with me to the baseline and I lob it all the way back to them. That's like
I'm
an
going to
old
give you a better one, Neely. I'm
that's
going
an
to tell you
old
what I do,
tennis
because
trick though.
I'm
That
gonna tell you what I'll share with you what I do in those situations, because I play with a few players like that. Is I'm pretty good about holding my paddle up. As soon as I see like hold my paddle up, so like I'll just hold my paddle up, and
yeah,
then
but it
I'll let him
doesn't work,
serve.
Tony, because the second
No,
you
no,
put it
no.
down,
But
all
hold
right.
on, I let him. No, but get set right. So and they'll serve with your paddle. They don't care. So they
Yeah.
serve. I go and I grab the ball and I hit it back to them and I go, and then they look at you and you're like, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm ready.
All right. All right.
I mean,
all right,
you do what you want to do, but it's been very effective for me. It's a little bit of a dick move, but it works. So
I'm going to try that one. I'm going to try that
all right.
one.
Touche,
All right.
touche.
Tell us, Neely, what's going on with you, like with the mental part, like sometimes when you're out there, is there something that you do or something that you find challenging, and how do you manage it?
Well, I mean, this is really, it just like pertains to people who want to get better, right? Because there's plenty of rec players out there who just are out there for fun. They don't really care about improving, really. They just want to have some time with friends and hit the ball around and get some exercise. So I think
They're not in this podcast, Neely, so you don't have to worry about that. Everybody in this podcast, we're all like, let's go. We want to
learn.
We don't have casual listeners on this podcast.
Those are my people. Those are my people.
Let's go.
Yeah, I would say for rec play, I try going into rec play with a sense of like purpose and intention, whether it's to work on 1 to 2 skills or 1 to 2 strategies, or maybe just like a certain mindset. And I really kind of don't care about anything else. So for instance, if I'm going in, like recently, I do watch a lot of myself on film. I watch a lot back because I do think that is a really important way in terms of getting better, because you have to see what you're doing, right, and have an awareness of it. So for instance, I was watching myself back one day and I noticed that I had this bad habit of when I would hit maybe like if the ball was like a little bit behind me and I was trying to kind of hit like a roll forehand dink, I would do this with my head, like this, like almost like as if I was willing the ball to go over the net with my head, but it was causing me
You're
to
doing
like
the Riley Newman.
Oh, does Riley do that? Yeah.
Oh my God. Riley looks like he's going to fall over when he dinks. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but yeah, like Riley.
Oh, okay.
Riley.
I'm going to have to watch him because I found for me,
it's what not to do. Watch Riley for what not to do, because Riley can do it, but the rest of us, no way.
Well, yeah, exactly. Riley's Riley, so he gets away with it. Yeah. And I'm not missing every time I do it, but I would notice that oftentimes because I pull my head up, the ball would go in the net. And like when you watch the pros, their head, other than Riley Newman, I guess, their heads are very still and steady, and they keep their head down throughout the shot. And so for instance, the last few rec sessions, I've really been focusing on, and I know like you haven't gotten to it, but I have a company where I have like stickers, the Edgar training stickers, where, that help train your brain. And one of the stickers on my paddle right now is head down. And so I look at, like for rec play, I'll look at that sticker frequently. It also helps with serves. It helps with so many different shots. And I'll sort of like look at it, say it, and kind of like visualize in my mind's eye, keeping my head down. And so I'll work on that for an entire 1.5 hour, 2 hour rec session. And that's the only,
I feel like I should share my screen so you can see that I had it on my list of things to talk about.
Yeah. So that
sorry to interrupt you, but I was excited. I was like,
no, I'm like, did I lose you? Yeah. So
no.
So like that will be my entire focus for an entire rec. And I think, that can be really helpful for players. Focus on 1 to 2 skills per rec session, and nothing else. Focus your brain on those 1 to 2 things. And I think that's kind of the best way to, because otherwise, Tony, like you've got a million things. Oh, I want to work on this and I want to do that, and you're just, your mind is overloaded, and you end up leaving 2 hours later, like, what the hell did I work on?
Yeah. And particularly like you mentioned about growth, right? If you're into growth 100%, the idea of one thing at a time. And by the way, I gotta give you kudos for not getting distracted by me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to click it right then. I was going to share it and I set it up and I was like, oh, I clicked one too many.
Oh, no, no worries.
I was just going to show you messing around, but because I did want to talk to you about the sticker idea, but yeah, definitely 1 or 2 things is such a good way of thinking about it. And one of the things I was going to point out, because you mentioned about watching yourself, right? And I think that is so valuable. And we mentioned Scott Fliegelman earlier, friend, great coach. And so what's interesting is I was clipping for tonight's strategy clinic. I'm clipping the match, right? And I remember, I know at the last shot of the match, I'm a left-handed player. Scott's a right-handed player. He was playing on the left side, so he's playing opposite me, directly opposite me. And he did it a few times during the match where he takes his forehand and he rolls it into my body. I'm a forehand heavy player. I don't like sliding backhand. So it causes real trouble for me because I'm trying to slide to my right and the ball's coming into my body. And so it's like an absolute nightmare. So actually the point before match point, he did it. And I don't know how that one I got, but I got it on the tip of the paddle and it went over and I was like, well, whatever. But then the very last point, I get a bounce, or he hits a nice high fifth, I think, but bounces. So I come around it. And I think I can get it between him and he's playing with Danny Warfel, between him and Danny. And then he comes and he reads it, comes and just crushes it into me. I'm like, oh, Jesus. So I was like, but here's the interesting thing. And at the time it happened, my brain told me that I had hit a pretty good shot. Not a great shot, but not a terrible shot. And Scott had just like gotten one off I thought he hit it this high off the court. When I'm watching the replay, it's still a great shot by him, but I basically like hit it into his forehand. And,
hit it
I laid it up into his forehand. Right. But at the moment I thought it was like, so that's why video is so powerful, because like your brain says, I did this. Yes. And you're like, no, you didn't. You're not even close to what you think you did.
Right.
Yeah. Definitely the mechanical stuff, definitely way better to see it on video than trying to like remember what you're doing. So
yeah, I mean, totally. Like I remember watching the film and I was like, what is that I'm doing with my head? It's a completely unconscious habit that I was not aware of had it not been for actually watching myself.
Yeah, we refer to that in our coaching as foundation. It's the foot to shoulder connection. You know what I mean? So, and if that's not set, very difficult. Actually, the one of the most exaggerated set players that I can think of is Dave Weinbach. Like if you watch him hit a third shot, he's like his head goes down and he hits the ball and the ball's like halfway. It's almost bouncing and his head's still down. He's like once he gets set, he just stays set until the ball's gone, which is the maximum foundation. So, but I do want to share the story, Tosh, if you don't mind, about we're playing Humana. Was it 2 or 3 years ago? I don't remember how long. It was a bit ago. And I remember that we went. I can't remember where it was, but I know it was one of the back courts where I went back there, and you were so gracious and friendly, and you came up and you were like, Tony, I'm one of your students, and it's so great to meet you. And
just for the record, I was gracious and friendly, and also like extremely nervous because that was my very first like senior pro tournament. So
it was your coming out party. So it was, but we had a really nice battle back there. I remember we had some good rallies, and but it was cool. And I'll tell you, I will share with you. I don't know if I shared this before or not, but like as a coach, it was so meaningful, right? Because like I believe in what I do, and when we're done with this, I'm going to give a shout out to Anna Bright, because I think I've not gotten a chance to watch her program. I know Neely, you did her program, but the word she was using, the way she was explaining it, I was like, I'm all in. Let's go. Right. Intentionality, recognition, awareness, consciousness. I'm like, basics, the word basics, because no one uses those terms, because everyone Anna Bright can use the word basics because she's Anna Bright, right? I use the word fundamentals, and players go like, that's for beginners. So when a player of your caliber, right, comes up to me, and Brooke also, and I can't remember Brooke's last name off the top of my head, but Brooke also come up to me in the US Open and said,
Buckner?
Buckner. And she was also a fellow system student, and that, helped you guys. I was like, it was just very rewarding to me. So I wanted to thank you for letting me know that as a coach. But let's talk a little bit about Anna Bright's, your conversation with Anna Bright, because I think she's such a fresh, young voice in the sport of pickleball. I think she's in mid-20s, somewhere in that range. And so, to have her speaking of pickleball in I would submit, such a mature, such a well thought out, well-developed way is just phenomenal. So why don't you guys share a little bit about what you learned from your interview with Anna? Because I thought there's so many great nuggets in that interview. And I'll recommend, if you haven't heard the interview, go listen to the full interview as well on Real Housewives.
Desperate Housewives. Oh man. Okay. Maybe that's our next iteration, Tosh. Instead of Real Housewives, we're Desperate Housewives. Oh my God, Desperate Housewives of Pickleball.
That'll be the late night show. Anyway, so go listen to the Real Housewives of Pickleball, the full
Tony,
podcast.
You're turning red. You're turning red.
I am.
For all the listeners, Tony's beat red.
I have the worst. I'm going to share with you guys my Tyra Black story in a second, but let's talk first about Anna Bright, and then tell you my Tyra Black story.
Yes.
Nuggets that you learned from Anna Bright.
Oh my God. I feel exactly the same way you do, Tony. Her use of the word conscious, and she said it in our interview maybe like a handful of times. It
Yep.
really hit home because like I am a yoga teacher, and you know, a lot of what we practice on the mat is being present. And it's the same thing, right? Being on my yoga mat, being on the court. And to me, that's a fundamental. You know, that's just, I think, being human, right? Something that most of us want to practice and get good at, or you know, find some kind of enlightenment in that way. And to be able to practice it on the court, I think is just like amazing. But I really loved it that she used that word and that she used it multiple times, because I think a lot of you know, yeah, you have your feet, you have your hands. There's so many different mechanics of pickleball, but you know, it's a human being playing the sport. And I think to get to the root of it, that might be a really good start, is to check on your, you know, your nervous system regulation, which then shows you how calm or not you are on the court. And then, you know, obviously, hopefully with that calmness also comes being conscious, right? Being intentional of what you're doing. So I loved that she brought that out into the conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
can
agree.
I just say,
At the end of the day, it's all about being human, right? So sorry, Neely, go
Yeah.
ahead.
no,
Yeah.
I think it's one of the cool things about the sport of pickleball, at least right now. I mean, who knows in 10, 15 years from now, but the accessibility of that we have with the top pros in the sport. I
Yeah.
mean, think about it. Tosh, we interviewed the number 2 female player in the sport.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're just a couple of housewives from Massachusetts who,
Desperate, I
we're
guess.
pretty
Desperate.
deep
I was,
and desperate too.
nice.
We're decent players. We're 5.0 plus players.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
midlife. But like, what other sport
Yeah.
could two
Yeah.
people like us get
Yeah.
the number 2 player in the world? But the other thing that I love about it is, our podcast, it's not just about getting Anna Bright to be on the pod, but we're interviewing so many different cool people, like Pickleball
Yeah.
Nikki, um, Ryan Reeder, who started a paddle company.
Yep.
We spoke with Alka Strapoli, who is a senior pro, talking about the challenges of raising a child with autism. We're talking with so many different people over the spectrum of this pickleball world, from the super famous to people, 99% of the pickleball world don't
Like
know, but they have
us.
interesting stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and so that, I don't know, that's like one of the cool things I think about. Squash was kind of like that, but tennis, the top 100 players, they're not going on a podcast with,
No. You
Yeah.
can't even see them when you go to the tournament. You maybe on a
Right.
practice court far away, but
Far
I always tell
away.
players, I'm like, go to the PPA while you still can, because
Yeah.
like, every PPA event I go to, and I do commentating and I do other things, but I'm just as a guy walking around, I'm like, oh, there's so and so, and there's so and so, and oh, there's so and so, and they'll talk to
Yeah.
you. They're super nice. You take a picture with them, they don't mind. It's like, yeah,
I
super
hope it
chill.
stays that way. Do you think it's going to
Yeah.
stay that way, Tony?
It can't.
No.
I mean, I think it'll stay
Mm.
that way for a little while longer, but it can't. It's just normal. Actually, I will tell you. So at the Worlds, it was the one that when they were together, and everybody was still happy, and at USA, nationals and Worlds were together, I guess. But I remember like actually Anna Lee had like an escort going through the whole thing, and it was kind of like noticeable. Like she had like an entourage of like 8 people, but they were like, it wasn't her people. It was like people in front of her, like clearing way, for her to walk. So,
Right.
Yeah.
The queen
mean-
is entering.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
she does have a bodyguard, right?
Oh, does she?
She has a lot of people who walk around with her, so I do know that. So
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Annalise, it's tough. I mean, she's a multimillionaire, barely able to vote. So but it's going to be an interesting life. I can't relate to it personally, so I can empathize, but I can't relate to it personally. So I'm going to share with you my Tyra story, and then I got 2 more things on my list, and anything else you guys want to cover. So.
Okay.
So I did as you guys I think know, I do strategy breakdowns on my YouTube channel, Into Pickle. So I love doing them. So I'm doing this
they're
whole.
so great. Thank you for doing that.
I'm doing
Love
this whole breakdown with Tyra, and I think it's probably Georgia, and I do the whole thing right, and push it out, and everything's great. And I started getting comments. It's like, yeah, Tyra Banks wouldn't beat anybody, and I was like, what? So I go listen to it, and I'm like, yep, like multiple times I refer to Tyra as Tyra Banks, and I'm just like, but here's the thing, my grandfather's last name is Black, like my my maternal last name is Black. Joseph Black is my grandfather's last name. And I'm like, so I know the name and and I know her name. But and even like when I'm at tournaments, it's just like one of these things that stuck in my head and I just can't stop saying it. So
I'll raise you. What's the expression in poker? I've got one and I'll raise you one for that.
Yep.
So my pickle friend here, Randy Parker, he posted on Instagram some tournament he got, I don't know, third place with his partner at some APP senior pro tournament. And
I know what you're going to say.
Do you remember this, Tosh? The story? We talked about it on the pod.
I actually saw his name in the tournament that I'm playing in Cincinnati. I saw his name and I thought of this. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So he's like, he tagged, he's like, oh, me and my partner, Howie Mandel, right? Won this tournament. And so I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. He played with Howie Mandel. And I was like zooming in on the picture and it looked like, I could have sworn it was Howie Mandel. So then I'm like, oh, Howie Mandel is into pickleball. Maybe we can get him on the podcast. Maybe he'll represent my business. So I go on Instagram and I message Howie Mandel and I'm like, oh, congratulations on your recent win. Obviously he's probably not reading in any of the messages he gets on there, but just going on and on about like, that's so exciting. You're into pickleball. And so then I text Randy and I said, that's incredible. You played with Howie Mandel. How was that? And he's like, oh my God, I am an idiot. I tagged the wrong person. What was his name? Howie Mendel?
Mendel, yeah.
So he played with a guy named Howie Mendel. Okay. And so then,
slight difference.
Then just on a whim, I Googled Howie Mandel pickleball. Howie Mandel actually is representing a pickleball paddle company. He's really into pickleball. So it kind of worked out.
It worked out. Now you just to be like, the other tournament. Yeah, I thought you played a tournament.
Oh my God, Howie Mendel.
I love it, so that's pretty funny. All right, so I have two things left on my list. Number one, Neely, is your father still with us?
He is.
What's his name, if I may ask?
Steve Steinberg.
All right, shout out to Steve Steinberg. If you know Steve Steinberg, give him some love for bringing Neely into the sport, and now we have a podcast because of it. So shout out to Steve. And
he's
then
looking.
the other thing,
Tony, he is always looking because he's 83 now, and he is good for 83. Right? Doesn't move great.
He's probably good for 73 too, right?
He what?
He's probably good for 73 too.
Yeah, he could play. He could play in 70 plus and win. He is always looking for partners. So if there's anybody listening right now who wants to play in some of these big tournaments, 70 plus,
tell him to send me an email. I do have one or two guys that have asked me.
You have people.
So. Okay, because he's good.
Nice.
And I'm not just
give him my email address. And just tell him to put Neely in the subject matter, else I'll be like, I don't know who the hell you are, Steve.
Yeah, I'm not biased. He's good. He's very, very good.
I believe you. It's all good. They'll sort it out anyway. So, I always tell my students that are like 70 plus, I'm like, aren't you just happy you're able to get on the court if I can just hit the ball, enjoy it? So, my favorite thing, have you guys ever seen? This is, I guess, another. Have you guys ever seen 90 plus singles, pickleball singles?
No.
I'm not sure I want to. I don't know.
No, you do. It's what pickleball's all about.
Really?
No, it's singles. Yeah, they're basically like, it's like serve, return, a third. Nice shot, John. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. These guys are out there, and I've never seen women. Women maybe do it too, but I've only seen the men. Like the video I've seen of the men playing. It's pickleball. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's not a negative. It's absolutely beautiful.
All
it's
right.
like serve, return.
That's the equivalent.
Oh, nice shot there, Bob.
That's the equivalent of like the Golden Bachelor and the Golden Bachelorette, those ones where it's like, they just, it's like sob stories of like their partner passing away and all the ailments they're dealing with. And so now I'm thinking I'm going to watch 90 plus.
No.
These are nobody. This is going to be me someday.
It's not faces of death. It's just pickleball.
I think that's when I'm going to make my singles run when I turn 90.
You're going to be let's go.
I'm going for it.
All right.
I'm going for it.
You'll enter the tournament, Tosh, and it'll be like one entry. Gold medal.
I win.
I made it.
You know what, Tosh? I'll enter two.
Exactly.
You're only a few years older. I'll enter two, and we can play each other in the finals.
Okay.
I love it. Gold and silver. All right. And then the second thing was, you mentioned it earlier about the stickers. Neely, tell us about the stickers and how can folks find the stickers? I'm interested in them now. So I heard about them in the podcast. I can't remember which episode you were talking about them recently, but tell us a little bit about the stickers, and because I think that positive reinforcement is something that's definitely super valuable.
Yeah. They're called Mission Sticks. The website's themissionsticks.com. So basically, like if you think about the edge guard, right, there's a lot of real estate there, and there's a lot of companies that have come along to develop products, lead tape, tungsten tape, uh, tape that looks pretty with patterns and colors and edge guard protectors. And I'm kind of the first to come along to offer keyword performance training stickers for your edge guard. And basically, keywords, for people who don't know, they're short, purposeful phrases or even, single words that help focus your attention and sort of regulate your emotions, but also that can help with executing skills and strategies. So basically like mental shortcuts. And you basically you stick them on the edge guard, and we have over 200 plus pre-selected options for 3 different areas. There's mindset and mental toughness stickers. There's stickers that will help with your technique, and there's stickers that will help with your strategy. The best part about them is they are very lightweight, like they're 0.007 ounces. They don't add anything to your paddle. Although I do have one weighted sticker that is for people who want actual weight with a phrase "I belong here" on it, because I think that's super important for so many different players of all levels to feel like you belong. And you can change them up, right? One day I'm working on head down, like I was telling you, I'm working on head down. The next rec play, I'm working on watching the ball. The next day I'm working on staying low. The next day I'm working on covering middle. The next day I'm working on getting my body behind the ball. So there's a million different options, change them up. And it's really, the idea is training your brain. So you're trying to activate a lot of neural pathways by seeing the anchor, seeing the sticker on your edge guard, saying it, and then visualizing it. And that way you're using a lot of different neural pathways that help train your brain. So during rec play, ball machine work, lessons, drilling, and if you play with them enough, it will train your brain so that those skills and those mindsets become automatic. It just becomes like a reflex. It becomes automatic so that when you're competing, you don't have to think about all this stuff. You just do it. It's just like your body takes over. So that's kind of the concept behind it. And the reason I started it is because I started using keywords on my own paddle, and it kind of like revolutionized my game in a lot of different ways and revolutionized my mindset, especially during competitive play. And I thought, if this is going to help me, this can help anyone.
Mm-hmm.
So that
I
was
love
so
that.
great.
That sounds like a
So
great idea.
great.
We need to get a get past 4 one. Can we get a get past 4 one?
Well, there is
Yay, I like
a
that.
customization option. So
All
if you
right.
have, I've had people, because they have like, some people have really weird, unique phrases they like to say to themselves.
Yeah.
And so if that's,
Like
that's
what? What's the weirdest?
um, I had, well, actually it's funny because one guy ordered one it was Anna Bright Energy. And that was
Oh,
what he wanted.
cute.
That, and then he had one was Loosey Goosey for whatever reason. I don't know, he liked Loosey Goosey. There was like, remember the triangle. There was all sorts of different ones. So yeah, it's one woman like swag on for whatever reason. It's from a song. So one woman was actually, this is one that I actually use for myself now. It's do the routine routinely. And I love that one because, for people who want to improve, um, it's kind of boring sometimes, the drilling,
Yeah.
the ball machines. And so whenever I'm kind of like, I'm like, you know what? You got to do the routine routinely. And that sort of motivates me. And I have one actually on my phone case right now. My body is strong.
Nice.
To remind me that, despite being 48, that my body is strong and badass, despite being injured right now, actually. My shoulder.
Actually, that just lost my train of thought. You mentioned the thing about the triangle thing might be system, because we actually teach like it's a footwork thing that we use inside the system on
Okay.
getting on the triangle of your feet. So kind of interesting. But yeah, the
Yeah.
positive reinforcement I think is so helpful, so powerful. Just to remind yourself of things that are going to focus you on what you need to focus on, and hopefully take away some distractions. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right, cool. Anything else you guys have for the good of the order? I think this has been a great conversation. And Tosh,
Yeah,
how you feeling?
I'd like to add that I just wish that everybody just plays pickleball, tries it at least once. I mean, I know all
Yeah.
the people who are listening probably are already as addicted as we all are. But just keep going. I think it's a ride no matter what level you're at
Mhm.
in terms of like peaks and valleys. But just keep riding the valleys and you'll find another peak. Just keep going, keep getting out there, stay in touch with all your community members, and keep playing. I think it's the greatest sport in the world.
Yeah, that's
I
a great
agree with you.
message. There will be a lot of valleys. And so how do you navigate them? That's actually something I've been thinking a lot about. And Tosh, I want to do maybe like an upcoming podcast about, because those valleys will happen, those downturns, curveballs will happen. Why do you keep playing? And I think you have to go back to your pickleball whys. And I've sort of started to zero in on like 3 of my pickleball whys that I need to come back to when I'm feeling like down and out, when I'm feeling like, oh, I've reached my ceiling or I've plateaued. You have to come back to those whys. So I think that's a great message, Tosh.
Actually, if you guys are open to it, I'll send you guys. So I would push back on Valley.
Okay.
I do agree with Peak but I'll send you the article, and then you guys, if you guys like it, you guys can play around with it. But basically, the idea, the way I see it, is you climb the peak or the mountain right in front of you,
Yeah.
and then you get to the top of that mountain, and then behind it, there's another mountain. But you're basically,
Yes.
I mean, you might dip a little bit, like to get to but you're not going all the way down again. So that's the only problem I have with Valley, like the idea that you're going like up and then all the way down, up and all the way down. So yeah, it's like up and then, I don't know what that's called. Like when you go over a mountain and there's like a higher
what is that
pass or
called?
something.
What is
Whatever that
called?
is, I'm okay with that term. But I use the idea of like there's always another mountain behind you, right? They're like you climb this one, and then and what we always share with our students is like enjoy and embrace that. Isn't that the greatest thing about pickleball? Like you'll never exhaust it. And Anna mentioned it in the podcast with you guys, where it's like, she's one of the best players in the world and she's still learning. Ben Johnson's still learning. There's always something. I mean, I would say it's not, and you're not going to exhaust it. Tennis is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You look at the best players in tennis, they're playing different than they played 6 years ago, than the top players. So you keep moving, you keep going, and there's always gonna be something to do. So yeah.
That's
and listen, I really appreciate what you guys do to help the sport. I think it's I think it's really important to have different voices, to have different ideas, to have different. And you guys are, positive and bring the love to the sport to players out there. So again, if you can follow. I don't know if it's Real or Desperate anymore, but whatever. I'm just kidding. The Real Housewives of Pickleball. Anywhere that there's podcasts, listen. That's right. Listen to Tasha.
I'm desperate for partners, Tony. I'm desperate for partners, for Christ's sake.
Partners are hard to find for tournaments. I'll give you that.
Yeah, they are.
But check out their podcast and follow them. And best of luck, guys, with the podcast and everything else. And we're definitely going to do this again. And
yes, please.
And I'm happy to come on your podcast whenever you want me to. So pleasure being with you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks,
This was
guys.
fun.